There we go. Are you looking forward to getting an insight on how long does it take to write a book? Hello, Sigrid de Cast here, and that is the topic I'm talking about today. I am a high impact book writing and marketing mentor, and I help people like you to write a book, to publish the book, and have it marketing optimized from the start. And that means we focus on what your book is going to do for you, how it is going to market you. So let's get right into the topic. I'm just going to have to make sure all of my, there we are, all of my areas here are working well. So it is really interesting that loads of people have that main concern or that major concern around how long will writing the book take? And I had just recently a range of very interesting questions around exactly that. How much time does it take? How much time would I need to give up? How much time do I need to prepare? How much time do I need to write? How much time to market? How much time to understand the technical bits of publishing? How much time to find someone to edit? How much time? How much time? How much time? The first thing I want to say to you, if that is a thought you have or one of those your thoughts around time, the first thing you need to ask is not how much time. None of those questions that I have just read out for you. The first thing you need to ask is, how much do you want to make a difference with your book? That is really the question to have top of mind, not the time. Because when you want to do something, when you want to achieve something, when you have a goal, an outcome in mind, you are going to have the time. Because it's top of mind, that is what you want to do. If you start thinking around how much time is it going to take, how much time do I need, then time is the thing that will pop in your way. And you will exactly that experience not enough time, stress around time. So the first thing you need to do is change that thinking and focus on how much do you want to make a difference with your book? How much do you want the outcome of having that book to impact people on a global scale with your book? How much will being the author of a book elevate you and your leadership status and attract higher profits for you? See, you can create profits and choose profits with purpose. There are so many different ways that you, but also the readers of your book, will profit from you having written and published that book that you have on your mind. So let me just say that again, because this is really the most important part around the main concerns so many people have. How much time does it take? How much time would I need to give up? How much time do I need to prepare? How much time do I need to write? None of that matters. What you want to look at is, how much do you want to make a difference with your book? How much do you want the outcome of having that book to impact people on a global scale with your book? That is really what you want to have a look at. You want to have that top of mind, and then the time will fall into place. I'm sure you know that that is how focusing on something works, because you will probably most likely experience that every day in your business, whatever your business is. But let's have a bit of a closer look at this concern around time, even though that is at the back end and it will resolve itself very easily. Here is how I look at and suggest you also look at time to write your book. First of all, why do you want to write it? When you are clear on this outcome you want to achieve and you create the topic, which part of your expertise, which part is it you're going to write about? What is it you want to do here with this book? When you are clear, you're going to write on an expertise you have. In contrast to, and this is where the misunderstanding, the outdated way of thinking comes from, a book takes a long time to write, you'll have to go onto some secluded island, sit there for a year or two and think, let inspiration come to you and write down your thoughts. Well, that comes from the movies where we are talking here about fiction writing, where you have to invent the story, where you have to perhaps do research around characters or a particular time in history to put facts together correctly, or if it's completely fictional, you have to think about what is this fiction you want to write about. And yes, then that may take time. Most likely, I don't think I could write a fiction book in 12 weeks, which is, the program that I have, you can do 12 weeks easily. So the difference here is the outdated way of thinking usually is related to fiction writing, not business book writing, not your expertise. You don't have to invent your expertise. You're using it every single day in your business. That is what you're going to write about. So that is number one. That brings down the time frame. You're going to write about something you already know. You are probably in a position every single day, if you were to be interviewed, if you were to be asked questions around what you do or how you do it, who you do it with, you're going to answer those questions right straight out. There is no hesitation, I am sure. You're going to be able to really easily and fast to talk about your expertise, what you do. Now, to write a book, you want to elevate that expertise and bring yourself into the next level of who you are and what your business is and who you are going to connect with and whom you're going to help. You are and going to elevate yourself further into that leadership of the particular topic you are an expert in, you are already working in. And if that word expert is not something that resonates with you very well, then use a different word. That's perfectly okay. But you have expertise in whatever it is you are in business with. So there's no denying about that. When you're writing about something you know, you can estimate the time it will take you to write. And I go into a bit of a mathematical equation in a moment, although mathematics is not necessarily what I want you to look at, but just to give you a glimpse into time, if time is top of your mind. So you are not writing fiction, you are writing a business book, something that you already know and have in you. You want to share that with a lot more people on a global scale, to get that message you have out there, that vision, to really enlarge it and distribute it further. That is what you want your book to do. So the actual writing of it is not something you have to stop and think and research. The key part at the beginning is that you are clear on which part, if you have lots of different expertises within your general topic, your general expertise. And this is something that a lot of women that come to me who want to write a book, and we have that first initial chat, and I give them some information around writing a book. That's the first thing they usually say to me is, I don't really know what to write about. I have so many different things. Do I bundle them all together? And so that already feels overwhelming, and it is no wonder they think I don't have time. And, if you are one of those who hasn't come to me yet to have a chat with me about how much time it is going to take you to write your book, maybe that's what's stopping you, because you think, oh, there's so much to write about. There's no way I can fit that into 12 weeks with Sigrid to help me, even if she's really, really good at helping me. And I'm here to tell you, yes, you can fit it into that time, and you're not going to write about everything. We're going to pick that one part of your expertise that you really want to use to step up what you're doing, or to step up attracting a new or different kind of client. Let me use one example from my own books that I've written, and I've got 3. They are right there behind me, or here they are. 3 different ones on different parts of an expertise, or of a different expertise that I have acquired over time. So the first one was all around coming from a retail background into consulting. And the main reason to write that book was that I wanted to use my skill, a skill that I have, and I had to look at what do I have, what's an expertise that people want to know more about, that I can help them with. And in that first book, that was all about team building, finding and keeping great staff. So whatever your expertise is now, pick a part that you really want to become known more for, or you want to really expand yourself and knowledge about you and your methodology around. So that's a key part. And again, that makes it really simple to write about, because it is something you already know. Now let's have a little look at a mathematical equation around book writing. It takes a long time. As I just said before, you are not about writing fiction where you have to invent and research and come up with a story. You're writing about an expertise. Let's say, for example, you're going to write a book and you might divide it up into 5 chapters. And working with me, for example, that is the first thing we do. We look at what you want that book to do for you. That falls into your area of marketing. Who needs that? And then we're going to have a look at what is the topic going to be. And then we map out your book title. And as soon as we have the title, we can map out your chapters. Now, let's say, for example, 5 chapters is what you want to write. Let's say you want to make it, or you're estimating around about 5,000 words a chapter. Now, does that sound like a lot to you? Maybe it does. Let's not fixate on that. This is purely an example. If you were to write about 5,000 words in each chapter, 5 chapters is around about 25,000 words. That's a good size book. Usually I estimate people write and consider people will read a book 25 to 35,000 words. You really don't want to have it too much more than that, because it takes time to read, to take it all on board, and then to take an action, because you want people to do something in response to your book. So let's run with these numbers. 5 chapters, 5 different areas of your expertise into those chapters, all things you know. 5,000 words makes a total of 25,000. Now, if it takes you around about an hour to write 1,000 words, and that is a long time, it's probably going to take you a lot less that. You know, let's break it down a little bit. Let's make it, for example, you have an introduction and then 6 chapters, and you are writing only about 3,500 words per chapter. And so it's estimate at about a total of 30,000 you want to write. Takes about an hour to write 1,000 words. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because it takes me, or it used to take me, it's a lot faster now, roughly an hour. It used to take me about an hour to write a 1,000 word post. Now it takes me about 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes. Of course, that is because we do have also other tools, and I'll come to those in a moment. But let's say 30,000 words, roughly an hour for 1,000. You know, if you break that down, you're looking at about getting 30,000 words together. Takes you about 2.5 hours a week over the 12 weeks working with me, for example. Now, 2.5 hours a week is nothing. Where could you cut 2.5 hours a week? If you had to cut And I don't want you to think in that way, because you don't have to cut anything. You can just write in batches. And here is where technology comes into play. You don't even have to write. You can speak. Here is the wonderful thing about talking. We talk so much faster than we can type, or certainly handwrite, certainly type as well. So you know what your book topic is. You have a chapter heading. All you need to get into that chapter is what that chapter heading is promising the reader. Whatever that chapter heading is what you speak. You can use a medium like Zoom and do a video recording. In one hit, you have 3 types of content. You have a video, you have an audio, and you can transcribe it into words, into text. So isn't that cool? You have one time you have to speak, record yourself, and you have 3 types of content straight away. And it is fast and easy. And here's the other thing. When you know what the heading is you're talking to, it's a bit like ask yourself the question, whatever that chapter heading might be, ask it to yourself as a question. This chapter is about, and then you can start talking. Imagine somebody is interviewing you. You would not stop. You would talk about fast and easy what your topic is. So you can get the words onto the page really quickly. And you can do that in batches. Now, it works different for each person. For me personally, doing batching works the best for writing my book. I'm writing the 4th one at the moment. And I like to set a number of hours or a half a day or something aside to do that. Now, that does 2 things for me. One, I stay in the flow of the thought, what I am talking about or what I am writing about at that point in time. And secondly, I flow through reading and rereading what I have already on the page. So that eliminates this desperate need that some people seem to think they have to have for an editor. Now, I don't want to talk about editing today because that is a topic on its own, and I have talked about that in the past. I have personally used an editor in the past, and I did not use the edited content at all because it wasn't to the outcome that I want to achieve with how I talk to you. Even in my book, I'm talking to you. It is not a grammatical piece or a piece that needs to have a literary prize. It is for me to connect with the reader that I wish to attract as a client, hopefully, or at least convey my message to that person in a way the person understands it. There's no point using academic type wording, phraseology, special industry language in a book when you are writing for a reader whom you want to understand on a very different level what you are saying. So to me, this need and desperation around editing is on a sideline. Can do a video about that on another time. Today, it is about how much time it takes to write your book. So I like to stay in the flow when I am writing a batch at a time, a couple of hours, as long as my focus, my attention stays with it. I write, I read, I reread. And so I know exactly what is in my book. I know exactly how I am talking to the reader. That is the fantastic and really simple way to write your book. And it does not take up any extra time. And as I just said, when you are using recording, which you of course can do, then that is even faster. You get the transcript later on, you have it transcribed, and you just need to make sure that your individual segments fit together or all fit into the one chapter, and you lead it across into the next chapter with a couple of connecting types of phrases. And that is really not very difficult. You see, people run into trouble when they start thinking, oh my gosh, I have to be very correct and I have to use super duper high-end, good quality English. For me, English is my second language, and I say it the way I know it. And if people don't understand it, I repeat it. I make sure that in a book, the way I use English is so you can understand it. Straightforward and simple. And that is what's important in a book for people to be able to understand. Think about all of those books that you like now, perhaps by somebody that you really gained big insights from. Did they use high-end language? Did they use words that you had to go and search for and find out, what does this word mean? What does that word mean? Just think about it, how tedious that is for the writer, how long it's going to take you to have this really grammatically industry relevant and right language. That is not the way people want to read your book. Now, let's come back to the time it takes to write. Of course, you can also use AI tools these days. As we all are aware now, I think most of us, ChatGPT is one of them, and you can train that little guy or girl, whatever you'd like to think it is, to write on the topic you wanted to write. Now, I strongly want you not to use the words that ChatGPT, the text it brings together for you as is. Instead, use it as a stimulator for the topic itself, for some expansion on the topic you're talking about, perhaps some ideas that you hadn't quite thought about adding into your book. Just use it for that. Do not use it as is. You know, some people may say that it is good enough to write a whole book. Yes, yes, and that depends on what the topic of the book is. I would venture to say, though, then it would be a general topic, not your specific expertise. That is probably what I would say is important on that. So, sorry, I'm just having a quick look at some comments here. Thank you, Gunnar. Hi, you are there. 120 hours it took Gunnar for his last book, from the concept to the launch. That's excellent, absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. When you know the topic you're writing about, it's your expertise, then you can estimate how long it takes when you map out your chapters first, when you know what you are talking about. So, video, audio, text, transcription, ChatGPT are all parts of using to estimate or to help you write and not run into any time trouble. But as I said earlier, really the key part, I believe, is in stop thinking about time and think about what's the focus? What do I want to achieve with this book? And your motivation is there. Your passion will come out. You're going to be wanting to write more. You're going to want to spill out everything that you know about your topic. So time won't play a role at all. You're not even going to think about time. Think about when you are at a party somewhere. Do you really think about, oh, how much, what, 10 minutes I'm here, oh, I'm here for an hour, I've got to go. You don't do that. And you don't go necessarily to something thinking, how much time is it going to take? What will I get out of it? Will I have enough time? You think about, oh, it's a party, I'm going to have some fun. With your book, think about, wow, I want to make a difference with my book. How many people can I impact? How do I want to impact those people? How can I make a difference on a global scale with the topic that I want to talk about? My expertise and my experience. How can I change the world with that? That is how to look at that. Now, the other component I want to touch on in the time, how long it takes you to write a book, or what's the topic, how to know how long writing your book will take. Well, you will know how long it will take if you start with clarity around the topic, you map it out, you have a title, you map out your chapter headings. That is how the framework that I help clients with, that clients who work with me experience that type of framework. All of that is mapped out initially, so they can estimate, okay, this topic I need to talk about, it's going to take me this long, that long, or the other. And so it is pretty straightforward. What I want to now share is, aside from the mathematical equation I just gave you, I want to also touch on this other element that is an element that people bundle into the writing time of the book. So they're looking at how long it takes to write a book, but what they're bundling into it, of course, is not just the writing itself. They're bundling in how long it's going to take for most of the people think they have to have this, editor who takes time. Then they think they need to have a publisher, somebody who is going to publish it for you. And then they think afterwards they're going to need to look at and learn how to market it. Now, yes, it is going to take you a lot more time if you separate those 3 phases of the entire book writing journey. If you look at writing as one part, all standalone, and when you're finished with that, then you'll have someone else look at your book and decide whether there are parts in there that need to be changed. And then you find somebody who is going to publish your book, and then you're going to look at how to market it. What happens is, of course, each of those phases, you're dragging the time out. No wonder some people take 2 years to write their book. It happens a lot. And some people do that without knowing that there is a better way. So the better way is doing all 3 phases in one go. They are interconnected parts of your book writing. The way to publish it, how to publish it, what categories to use, having control yourself over your publishing, over your published book, over the income that the book can bring you through book sales, how to upload and use and change perhaps your book cover or change text inside your book at any point in time. You can have control over that. You can set a lot of that up while you are still writing. There is no need to delay after the writing process to then go into the publishing process. So that is all one interconnected way how the framework that I offer people to write a book works. And thirdly, the marketing, of course, is part of that. As I said earlier, we start with the marketing. We create a marketing optimized book. And we're not looking at book sales to market the book for. We're looking at the book marketing you. Just like this first book I wrote marketed me as being knowledgeable, experienced, and an expert on how to find and keep great stuff. How my second book, The Secret of Marketing a Business Like Yours, highlighted, elevated me as the expert on that topic, that marketing is interconnected. Just like a book, writing, publishing, and marketing is interconnected. I see it as a whole, as all fitting into each other, and therefore you take the steps together, not one after the other, with all sorts of different people helping you, talking about different things at different times, and the people themselves that might be helping you might not be aligned with each other or with you. So that type of a book that I'm proposing to write, and I'm talking about the new way of writing over the outdated way of writing, is you have control over each part. You learn what each part is, simple and easy. There are so many tools for you to do so. And the time it takes working with me is 12 weeks. No stress, straightforward. You have control over each part. And I would be very much looking forward to you contacting me for a chat around your book and your book idea. So let me just, on the very last minute, recap on the most important parts or the most important things around how to know how long writing your book will take is. Number one, stop thinking about time and think instead, how much do you want to make a difference with your book? How much do you want the outcome to impact people on a global scale, perhaps with your book? How much will being the author of a book elevate you and your leadership status and attract higher profits for you and make those profits with purpose? Purpose for you and the people who read your book. That is the way to think about and look at how long it will take to write your book, and then have a strategic approach to writing, publishing, and marketing your book. And that is what the framework I offer is all about. Now, if you have any questions, simply put them below this video or contact me directly. I'm very happy to have a talk with you on your book.